Thank you very much, my fellow Tsado. Ibrahim, your middle name is Tsado as well.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yes, we're the only two I know out of many, many people. So great to see you, and thank you very much for giving me this stage. And thanks for that incredible introduction as well.
Thank
Yeah,
you, sir.
it reads pretty well. Yes. Yes. Well, I am looking forward to this. I always love these opportunities for information exchange. We're hoping I can share a bit about some of the things that we've been doing. And I definitely kept time for conversation so it can be an exchange and a test of some of the information I'll be dropping to hear how you respond and react to them and how you can even help take it further, right? This is going to be a collective effort. It's a David versus Goliath moment, right? Where the world is Goliath and Africa is David. But when we work together, I'm sure we can come out victorious on the other side. So as far as today goes, I did put together some slides for us, and I've shared my screen now. So I'll go through them, and it should probably take us around 15 minutes or so, and then we'll do some questions. And I decided to theme this one AI job creation by 2030. I thought it was an apt title because a lot of people, when they hear about AI, they get spooked and they think of AI is coming to take our jobs. Well, how about AI to create more jobs for everyone? That's at least how I think of AI, and that's the kind of AI that I have been driving, one that will create more jobs instead of take away jobs. And so with this, I think my next slide just does a little introduction. As Ibrahim has shared, I was at Nvidia. Nvidia is the company behind AI the way it is today. More than 80% of today's AI is run on top of Nvidia, so it's almost like a monopoly. It's now the most valuable company in the world, over $3 trillion of market cap because of AI. And this is just the beginning. It's going to keep growing. The world hasn't seen enough AI yet. And so my role there was to be responsible for the cloud service providers, pretty much putting the product on the cloud. It's a GPU, it's called a GPU, for those who are not very familiar. When you have a GPU chip and is on your laptop has a way to connect to a GPU chip, your laptop becomes a lot faster. So now you can run very, very powerful applications like the first applications were gaming, people that do gaming, real-time gaming. You can now use a GPU-powered laptop for gaming. But then beyond that, you now do things like train AI models or run very powerful AI models. That's what that's for. So whilst I was there, we created this cloud service market across the world. And then I decided to create the Africa AI plan, what that could look like, pitched it to the Nvidia CEO and kind of gave blessing that so I left the company to go and work on the Africa AI plan and figure out how can we bring Africa along and not be left behind, because really Africa was left behind. We have been left behind this whole time until today, which is interesting. At the end, I will share with you a news that literally just happened today. So it's pretty apt that you decided to have this conversation today. And there will be more coming. So to the next slide here answers another big question that gets asked is like, why AI? Why are we Africans talking about AI? Why not food, electricity, and water? Everybody, that's what we need now. Why are we talking about AI? Well, the simple answer is that AI allows you to solve those problems faster. AI is actually the solution to the problem. If there's no AI, the numbers say that Africa has a $600 billion infrastructural gap every year. Every year. That's not going to come. Even if we stop being corrupt, nobody is going to provide $600 billion every year for Africa. But if you have a technology that can allow you to do more with less, you might have a chance. In this example, we talk about healthcare, where it says, if you wanted to provide better access to healthcare in villages. You know what it's like in villages. You have trained doctors in the cities. They don't want to move to the village because life is boring and things don't work. You don't have infrastructure in villages. You don't have hospitals. You have almost nothing. So to bring healthcare there, you have to spend a lot of money building those hospitals. You have to train the doctors and convince them to move there. And then you have to buy equipment like MRI machines and things like that. It's very expensive. This estimate here talks about like $10 million per hospital, or smaller than that per clinic. It's a lot, and it takes a lot of years. So if you really want to solve all those problems the traditional way, I'm sorry, it's a very, very difficult thing, and that's why nobody's doing it. But if you use the AI to approach the problem, there are AI solutions you can build for the purpose of not canceling jobs, but solving problems in villages. Those solutions are a lot cheaper. We're talking about $100,000 per deployment. And it will take weeks to implement these solutions instead of many, many years. And it can improve the effectiveness of existing staff, the people who are already in the villages, the community health workers. If you give them AI on a tablet or on a phone, they will be able to do so much more. So you don't have to be convincing doctors from Lagos to go to Aginebode or one village. They're already there. You just give them a phone that has AI, and it can do so much more. This is the promise of AI, where we're saying that with the same amount of money, you can reach maybe 100 times more people. That's the promise, and this is why we're talking about AI. So hopefully you are empowered to say the same thing when asked the question again, why AI and not food, electricity, and water? Our government needs to be able to answer these questions because they get it a lot. And this is the reason I also think they are not investing their budgets in AI. They are thinking, oh, our budget is for food, electricity, and water. Well, you're kind of wasting it, aren't you? $10 million you're spending when you can spend 100K to do the same thing. So that's what that's about, and visionary governments get it in other continents. There's a reason why in Latin America and in Southeast Asia, they are spending on AI, but in Africa, no government I see has spent one dime yet, and hopefully that changes soon. Here are some new jobs that are possible with AI. We're talking about over 10% GDP contribution, right? It should be more than 10%, but let's just conservatively say 10%. Here's some examples where developer shops, right? The way India is today, they have a lot of developer shops, dev shops, where people outsource problems to India. You make India developers build for you because they are cheaper, similar quality. Africa can do that as well when it comes to AI, if we do the right things. And in this presentation, I'll deep dive into dev shops on how we can do the right thing. The second one is movie creation. That's my personal favorite. Africa is already like a leader in movie creation in the world. Nollywood is number 3 when it comes to producing movies. But the quality of the movies are not great because it's very expensive to make movies, like improve their quality. But if you have AI, it's a lot cheaper to improve their quality. You don't need to build a big production studio. You just need a powerful laptop, and you can produce the same thing as what gets produced in America. So I look forward to those of you with money on the call. Let us set up AI factories for movie creation and change the future. So put it in the chat if you're one of those money people. The third one is community health workers, as I already talked about. They have their phones in their hands. You can see this person. They can answer many more questions. They can help many more people than waiting for hospitals to be built. And then small farms, right? You can make small farms smart. I call it smart small farms, where you can bring AI solutions to the farms, and it will increase. If there are AI solutions on the farm that have not worked, is a case of finding the ones that have worked so far and scaling them, as against wasting money on the ones that haven't worked. So it's a very interesting challenge, and we always look into those to try and identify the ones that have worked for farmers and scale them. So yeah, very, very interesting stuff. If I now move forward to say, we'll now dive into the dev shop, because that's a big one. The Africa dev shop cost advantage, as I insinuated before, in the US is very high. It's very expensive to hire AI professionals in the US. You're talking about like over $500,000 for one engineer every year. It's expensive. And it just keeps going higher. In Africa, it can be 25% of the cost, if not lower self. And the pool is an untapped pool of well-trained talent. There needs to be more training done, but at least there are some people who are trained already. There are dev communities in Africa that can be leveraged. And the last piece is, that the reason why for this is there's a lot of significant cost savings for businesses, and then there's economic growth for Africa. You can imagine somebody in Lagos or even Benin City as an AI engineer, because you have a dev shop in Benin City, someone who's building AI will be earning like $5,000 a month. How much is that in Naira? We're talking about like 7.5 million Naira a month. That's crazy now. All of you in this call, you should just change jobs and become AI engineers, right? So yeah, this is what is possible. But and this one just lists out some numbers for you where you can see these are conservative numbers. Where in the US, AI researcher monthly is earning from 10 to 15K every month. Data engineer, data analysts, all the amounts you can see in USA, Ukraine, South Africa, Kenya. When you now enter Africa, you can see the numbers in Africa, the average number that they are getting paid. We have some AI engineers in Nigeria and Lagos, and we are paying them around the higher amounts here. So this is what they're earning every month. So we need more. We need to set up more. So what's the problem? What's the problem? Assuming you had a world-class trained AI professional living in an African country, would you hire them? What are the reasons they're not getting hired today? I have many more slides, but this is one of the points I will pause for a second and give people opportunity to answer this question. What are your own reasons why like if you yourself, you are based in the UK, you are based anywhere abroad, and they told you there's somebody that has talents in Africa, why won't you hire them? So Ibrahim, if it's okay, and Chairman, we can have some people who want to comment, say something, maybe 2 or 3 people can unmute and say something.
That's fine, sir. It's okay. You can unmute yourself if you have something you want to contribute.
Okay,
Doreen, Emmanuel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good afternoon. Thank you, Alex, for a wonderful session. I'm enjoying what you're doing right now. The question is if I would hire them, a world-class trained AI professional living in Africa. Yes, I will hire them. And why I would hire them is because we have lots of professionals that are going through training and they get to work internationally. So yes, I would definitely hire them.
Okay, very good. Well, you're a good person. Anyone else wants to comment?
Hi, Alex. Thank you so
Hi.
much for the presentation so far. This is Elizabeth Obode. I don't think a world-class AI trained professional would be in an African country. So I would be curious as to why they're there in the first place. And I'll be concerned that I cannot afford them even if I choose to hire them. So there would be concerns, really.
Okay, that's a good one. All right. Osita said the electricity might not work. So there will be delays. Bukola says there's fear of fraud. Exactly. You see? So now we're answering the question. Dorian, you are nice, so you said you hired them.
Big we have Monola. Yeah. It's, okay.
Okay, good evening, Alex, and thank you, Brian, for this session. The truth is, I'll hire them, but there will be a lot of legal documents going back and forth. Meaning, I am not saying you shouldn't do other things, but you have to get my job done as at when due. If we're able to agree on that, why not? Probably the person prefers a more comfortable environment that is closer to home, so that shouldn't be an issue for me. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Olamola. Thank you. Yes, so let's see now. Oh yeah, we might have to double check their qualifications. So you see, these things, they speak to the truth of how foreigners see African developers. Right. Some of it is a reputational issue. You're not sure of their qualifications and you're like, there's a world professional in Lagos or anywhere. Wow. By the way, the person that we have in Lagos, he's a world professional AI developer. Incredible. Like top notch. And there are several of them like that. They're there, but the rest of the world doesn't believe that they're there. So there's a reputational issue. There's an infrastructure issue because you're worried about electricity. You're also worried about Wi-Fi. They will join Zoom call and they'll be telling you, oh, it will be breaking up, or you are trying to upload a big data set into the cloud. It will not work. So that's in general. So that's the reputational issue that we're dealing with. But then at least with this presentation, I can show you that there are ways around the problem, right? How did I get around hiring the few developers that I have in Nigeria? There are ways around this problem. And so with that, let me then go to the next slide. So the key barriers, like I'm saying, is number one, infrastructure concerns. The work managers hesitate due to infrastructure gaps in African countries like electricity and Wi-Fi, like we were just saying. The next one is talent recognition. There's a need to showcase the quality and potential of African AI professionals. There's a need to showcase it. So it's not that they are not trained. Training is still useful, but even the ones that we already have, there's a need to showcase what is possible with them and change that perception gap. This is the first thing India did. They figured out how to just market to the world that they have powerful developers. And then the Indians in US were hiring their people. So the Nigerians in US need to hire their people just the way I'm doing. Other diaspora need to do the same. But for them to do that, the person they're hiring needs to behave well too. They need to figure out the infrastructure and they need to not be fraudsters. Fraudsters exist, right? So the last one, number 3, cultural understanding, fostering global awareness of African tech ability, capabilities, and work ethics. Yes. So number 2, I hope number 2 is somebody's capstone project, talent recognition and marketing. The issue is not training and skilling. It's about how do you market? How do you market what they know how to do? So if we now move into some of those hurdles and how you get past them. The first one is a low-cost hurdle of soft skills. Quite often we find that the professionals who are based in Africa might struggle a bit with soft skills since it's not prioritized in most of our universities. Like, for example, presentation skills. You have someone to come and present, but you put them in front of your foreign clients and they don't know how to present what they have just worked on. Project management skills, it takes them such a long time to complete something, or they don't know how to follow and keep to deadline. It just needs to be trained. Personal branding, they don't know how to speak properly, make good posts on LinkedIn. There are things you do to up level your abilities. And this is something that a whole training can be made around. And we can go to Unilag, we can go to UI, wherever, and provide this training for developers who are there so that it can improve things for them. So this is the kind of training they need, not training on computer science. They already know the computer science, but they don't have these skills. They don't know how to work in a team. Those are low-cost hurdles. Now, the high-cost hurdles is infrastructure. Infrastructure is expensive. It's expensive as hell. So how do we figure out how to get past this expensive issue? The first one is power cuts. Your work gets disrupted because of power costs. Well, potential solution is like renewable energy hubs. You can see solar panels on top of there. You can imagine there's a house that can take, I don't know how many people, 20 people, and there are solar panels there, and they are coming there every day to come and be developers. That's one approach. Expensive internet. Because of that, there's limited access and they will be dropping off calls and things like that. Same thing with low bandwidth. So some solutions are things like Starlink. Starlink is expensive, but if you're earning $4,000 a month, Starlink is cheap. So you have to pay for the Starlink. It's cheap. It's cheap when you're earning that money. And fiber optic networks, you want to locate yourself. You want to locate your office in a place that has fiber connectivity. In Lagos, the fiber is around Unilag, right? And where CC Hub used to be, around that area. That's why you have a lot of startups around there. So there's high bandwidth and it makes things operate a lot more smoothly. So next slide here, the biggest gap is GPUs, right? Compute cluster, all this, you see this is like a data center. That's a rack. Inside the rack, you have the computer chips, the GPU chips that I say is Nvidia GPU chips, right? If you are using an older GPU or a CPU, you can be 50 times slower than your competition. So why will you hire somebody in Lagos when you know that they have a slow computer, but somebody in America or even in Ghana, if Ghana invests in GPUs before Nigeria, it means the Ghanaian developer will be 50 times faster than the Nigerian one. That's crazy. That's terrible. So we need to buy GPUs. GPUs are so important. Well, you find that when you train people to be world-class in Nigeria or in your country, if there are no GPUs there for them to use, there will be brain drain. They will leave because they can now leave the country with their talents and go to a country that has GPUs, and then they will earn money. If they had GPUs in Nigeria, they will not leave. They will stay in Nigeria and they will earn that money in Nigeria and enjoy it more than somebody will make in UK. You make the money in the UK, you pay it back in taxes. You're not enjoying your life now. But if it's in Nigeria, it's a lot better. And when you now have that money, the economic impact is huge. Like you would transform the local economy with all that money you're earning from abroad. It's like exports. This is the easiest way to do exports without dealing with any export customs agents. You know, it's incredible. So this is why this is so important. And the announcement today was about the biggest GPU cluster in Africa. So that's the first big announcement. We were working on that last week. All through the week was a very, very difficult week, but pulled it off. And that's the first big GPU cluster that's happening. So let's move on. So if you bring all these things together, we have this idea of a AI hub. An AI hub is a strategic location that has been provided with the sustainable power it needs, advanced connectivity, and compute power. You brought those three things to a particular place, and it's a big hall where you can have hundreds of people coming in. That's their office, and they'll be working on solutions. If not 100 people, 20 people, start somewhere and just bring these things together. And this is huge business that you can create as long as you can fix the marketing problem as well, that people believe you, that you actually have well-trained AI people in your country. So this is an initiative that can be invested in by people who are strategic or governments or things like that. It's very transformational and you will do really well. I already know of small dev shops in like Ibadan. You can imagine Ibadan is a lot cheaper than Lagos to live, right? Rent and everything. But the money you earn is the same. So you can imagine earning $4,000 in Ibadan. How much will you spend? $200? That's a lot. So the way we're thinking about this job creation by 2030 is that the first step was in 2024. Let's call that's when is talents that are hired. They'll be working on AI solutions for the rest of the world, right? Because the rest of the world is hiring them to work on things. But as they are working, they are earning money, they are making money, $4,000 a month, $4,000. I'm just saying this 4,000. It's actually maybe $2,000, $2,000 a month when you have started. But when you become a senior engineer, it's like $4,000. So just keep that in mind. So yeah, they're earning all this money. After 1 or 2 years, some of them will now say, okay, I don't want to keep working on just foreign problems. I want to work on local African market problems. So that's how ecosystem changes. So they now start to work on African stuff, start to work on things for those villages, the AI solutions in villages, the AI solutions for farmers. They'll start to work for things at home. And those solutions that they create will now be the ones that will create jobs after like several years. So that's where the jobs will come from. So this is almost like a trajectory that the thing can take. Right. So that's how one can how it can play out if someone important does it. And this now brings us to the beginning of it, right? This is the announcement that was made this morning. It's Africa's first big cluster. So yeah, we've been talking with several Africa's billionaires. They've all been dragging their feet from Dangote to Dantata to Andele to everybody. But finally, Strive Maisiwa has been the first one to make a move. So this morning he came, this was last week, Wednesday, Tuesday, every Wednesday. He met with Jensen Huang, that's Nvidia CEO. And this is Oswald that works with him. And this is Andrew Sweets that works with Rockefeller. So he's going to invest over $50 million in the first GPU cluster. That will be in South Africa. After that, we announce the other ones. Investors, they're always waiting for somebody to move first. After he has done this now, I won't be shocked if in the next couple of months, our own in Nigeria, well, we'll see now. We'll see if they move. But he has made his move, and now he's the AI guy in Africa. He has taken my title. Money is good. So yeah, that's what's happened. And the economic impact of this is job creation. We'll be able to work on global projects. We'll boost the local economies, and we should be able to drive an even more thriving local ecosystem in our African countries. That's what can happen when more AI hubs are funded. And there'll be benefits for global businesses. They'll be able to get access to cost-effective talents. They'll be getting diverse perspectives, African perspectives on problems that they are facing, and round-the-clock support, right? When they go to sleep, we'll be working. When we go to sleep, they'll be working. So it's a great handoff, and it's really good. So this kind of brings us to the end of my talk here, where the call to action is, we should be thinking of different groups that can invest in this kind of AI hubs and partner with local talents and advocate for policy support. It's policy support that's needed to make this take off. Things like reducing import duties and whatnot. So I think that's the last slide. And I'll open the floor now for, I guess, 10 minutes of commentary. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. That was very, very insightful. Short, insightful, straight to the point. It was like a sharp bullet. That's good, sir. Thank you so much. I'm sure we learned a lot from the comments we had earlier, and hopefully this section now will have more comments. So the floor is open for those that have questions, comments.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Okay. My National Financial Secretary, please go ahead.
Yes. Good evening, everybody, especially our guests today. I was really excited about this program because I'm actually an AI engineer, but I work in the public sector. So I really got a lot from what you said about AI for job creation. Now, when people talk about AI for job creation, I think it's always geared towards talent export. And I'm more of an advocate for, creating those jobs here. So the announcement you said that Nvidia has made today is actually promising. I think it's a step in the right direction for how AI jobs can be created here in Nigeria. Because like you said, like you rightly pointed out, the talents are here. It's not like the talents are not here. There's so many trainings going on. The government, they are doing so much. And people are even, getting on board as well. But the problem why, it's AI job creation is always geared towards talent export is because of this infrastructure problem that we have, which is, scaling, compute, and all that. It's a big win for Africa that Nvidia is pointing towards this direction. And the one big major problem is that when it comes to this AI job creation, people do not emphasize this infrastructure problem a lot. And I'm glad that people like you who have the experience in such industry is working with those that are trying to change that. The Federal Ministry of Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy, they actually, with the AI Trust and the AI strategy, these are all in part of their plan and their policy. But I hope these things are things that would actually come to fruition in the near future, because the infrastructure is what we really need. Because talent, if it's talent, Nigeria has AI talent like you don't even know, have so much talent. But the problem is our infrastructure issues. And if things like this this kind of compute offered by Nvidia, if it's coming, this is going to be a big plus. So thank you for your work in the field.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chinwe. Let's connect later. Good to learn about the things you built. That's great. And then the thing I want to correct is not Nvidia's investment. It's not Nvidia's investment because Nvidia refused to invest. Yeah, I told this man here about this. What is it now? 5 years ago, he refused to invest. It was this man, the black guy, the African billionaire that invested.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this American they will not invest. Africans will have to invest in ourselves. And so he has chosen to invest. He's from Zimbabwe, but he's going to launch it in South Africa. So this is not even touching Nigeria. Nigeria is not getting anything. This is South Africa. So now, but the Nigerian billionaires were spoken to. They've not moved. They are dragging their feet. So now that they've seen this announcement, I hope that they make a move, right? Minister Bosun Tijani was with us last week when we were discussing all these things, and they're refusing to invest. But after they've listened to all of this, let's hope that they move. Thank you. All right, who's next?
Hi, evening. This is Robert.
Yeah.
Robert,
Yes.
good to see you.
Hi, Alex. Hi, Ibrahim. And hi, every other person that I haven't met. Nice presentation, Alex. I spent quite a bit of time laughing when I was listening to the feedback when you opened up the floor last time. And you know, it's good to give honest feedback, but it's important for us to understand why we have the kind of perception that we have about Africa. For context, I live in Africa. For context, I am not, in quote, famous, but for context, again, I would fit into the bucket that Alex was describing, but I don't even live in Lagos. I've lived in Lagos 3 times. I hate Lagos. I prefer what you might call rural areas. But I don't have those infrastructure problems that Alex mentioned, because the solutions that Alex put up in the slide are really the solutions. I have solar. When the grid was down for 2 weeks, I barely noticed. I have Starlink, and there's even Starlink Enterprise if you need really massive bandwidth. And that's it. You're good to go, right? Computers are the same everywhere. You can order your computers from Apple and pick them up and get your work done. So why do we have the perception that we have about Africa? It's really the answer to that is the answer to anything that someone doesn't want you to have access to. If there's something good somewhere and people don't want you to have access to it, they create the impression that there's nothing good there. Now, why am I saying this? So one of the things that I do is I mentor startups. Why do startups exist? Startups exist because venture capitalists hope to make money in the future. That's why startups exist. And there are startups coming out of Africa. There are venture capitalists pumping money in. Dangote and the others in Nigeria are not venture capitalists, and they don't understand technology. And you really can't blame them, right? They will put their best foot forward. That's the advice from, his name just skipped my mind. But basically, they'll put their best foot forward. So they won't invest in technology because they don't understand technology and how it works and any of those other things. But here's the point. We have startups coming out of Africa, coming out of Nigeria and other places, going into YC, getting investment from YC. And those startups, they're here. They're not going anywhere. Google has an accelerator. Facebook used to have an accelerator. And here's the secret. These guys, they accelerate businesses with the hopes of purchasing them in the future. I'm part of a program, and one of the guys from Egypt who was, part of that program founded a startup, InstaDeep, and he sold it. I can't remember how much he sold it for, Alex. I don't know if you remember or if you're aware.
$600 million. I was an investor. Yes.
Right. So here's the secret that you need to know. There are a lot of people who don't want you to even know that this person exists so that they can get more shares. And when it's time to exit, they get more. Alex, correct me if I'm wrong.
That's correct.
So, your perception about Africa is to someone's benefit, right? They want you to not look at Africa, to not trust anybody, so that those guys are free to work on special projects that they can eventually monetize later on. So, you are free to either have the perception that you have about Africa or ask yourself, why exactly is it that we have those perceptions? It's like DR Congo. Why do we have crisis in DR Congo? It's all because of the solid minerals. It's nothing else, right? But the point behind DR Congo is to make everybody run away from DR Congo. It's for us to say, hey, Africa isn't habitable. And why we say Africa isn't habitable, isn't Africa the location for raw materials for everything? The raw materials, for chocolate, cocoa, the raw materials for, we can start. Why aren't we refining in Africa? Why are we exporting raw materials? Because it's to someone's benefit, right? So yeah, really, I was laughing. We've solved something similar prior to the AI era. We set up a hub in Kaduna. It's fully autonomous. We have solar panels. We have Starlink. It was a 9-year journey. Yeah, we started sometime around 2015. So this is like the 10th year. But we've rolled out really great talent, great software engineering talent. When Microsoft was here, Microsoft hired our talent. They all lived in Kaduna. They all had solar power. They all had internet. And they were working for Microsoft remote in the Lagos office, right, until it shut down. So I would advise that we reevaluate what we think we know about Africa. The photo that Alex put is even intimidating. You don't need this, right? Frankly, in a lot of places, all you need is 3 shipping containers with solar panels on top of them and 1 Starlink enterprise or 2 regular Starlink, and you're fine. So it's not even as much money as you might think. Of course, right now, because Alex is talking about GPUs, yeah, then you start talking about needing compute clusters and stuff. But a lot of these problems are 200K, 300K problems. We're not talking millions of dollars, right? Strive is trying to solve, he's looking really long term. But it's possible to start a lot of things with a little bit of money, meaning that, just some seed capital, 10 people, 20 people putting up seed capital will solve the problem. It will get, the horse out of the door, and then you can wait, to grow that investment that you've put in. I think I've said enough. Back to you, Alex. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Robert. It's good to engage again on this forum, and I'm sure we'll talk a lot more. Yes, amazing to hear what you guys have done in Kaduna, and we need more people doing them. It's phenomenal for dev shops, and then those who want to do it for movie creation or game creation, talk to me. We'll make it happen. Yes, Doreen, is your hand still up, or it was up from before?
Yeah, sorry, a quick one, Doreen, before you start. Robert is talking to us next after Alex, but that will be details to come.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Doreen.
Yeah, it was the earlier discussion we had when you asked me a question. I was hoping you would give me another chance to talk after that. And I think Robert has covered everything. I was also a student of CoLab, by the way. So when Alex talked about not employing an AI engineer from Nigeria, I just wanted to let you know that we are exporting global talent of developers and engineers on a global standard. And when you talk about Indians, people who employ Indians and they employ Africans. To be honest, there's currently a product that I'm currently rebuilding because the co-founder hired Indians to work on this project. When they are done, we're not able to use it. So now we are starting from scratch. You talked about perception. So possibly the reason why, Africa, somebody will not hire engineer from Africa. It's not because we don't have the infrastructures, because if the person can wire their house, they can decide to, we can just talk about maybe attitude to work or maybe global perception, but definitely not because we don't have global standards. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Doreen.
All right. That's a good one. So let me add mine now. Looking at all the earlier comments, and I think I flew with the last 2 comments, because I'm a big time promoter of Nigeria. The good things we see in Nigeria. So like Robert said, why do we have that perception about Africa? I think one of these is the way we are wired. People tend to focus more on our weaknesses and threats. Then we use the SWOT analysis, for instance. But I would say we can also look at our strengths and opportunities. I just remembered that this, like they said too, we're exporting global talent, like Doreen said. We are some of the best guys in the field, just like Mr. Alex that is presenting to us now. From your citation, you started like the biggest GPU, cluster, at the time. So you're a Nigerian. So what's there? I think the guy that created the best AI robots, Silas Adekunle. Yeah, he's a Nigerian. So Nigerians have talents, and I think what is missing most of the time is access to the knowledge, and tools. I too have been opportune, to be part of a World Bank project to set up like an fab lab in my own case, and I saw the impact of giving people that want to learn the knowledge and the tools. They become something else. They start solving problems and all. So I think we should focus more on our strengths and opportunities while working on the weaknesses, and but we should not dwell on those weaknesses. Let's focus on our strengths and advertise. I know you said earlier too that what the Indians are doing is they showcase their own and they employ their own. And we can even see from what Doreen is saying now, it's like they're not super smart. They're not that smart like as us, but it's the way they carry themselves, is the way the outlook, the outlook they give to the outside world. So I think that is very important for us. And so, sorry, Alex, I would like to ask some questions. So from all this now, number one, how can someone become an AI engineer? What are those critical, areas where, how to become an AI engineer? Now, the second one is, you're mentioning GPUs. I know, I remember we met at the Raspberry Pi event. Yeah. And, we're invited by Mr. Ibrahim. And we're told at that event that Raspberry Pi 2 can run AI models. And I know Raspberry Pi can be categorized as CPU, yeah? But of course, GPUs are faster. Now, what is the lowest hanging fruits at the GPUs? Well, like, what's the most affordable GPU out there? I know Nvidia has one very cheap one, very cheap GPU like that. But just to share that idea with us so that some of us here can take that home and start looking at starting something with something affordable. Then third one, for grants. How do we access? I know I mentioned it to you the last time. How do we access grants? Now, you mentioned setting up AI Hub. It's not cheap. I know Robert is trying to tell us just get some containers and put some solar. Right, by the time we put some 1 to 2, we're talking about 5 million, 10 million, 15 million, sort of, But so, as a non-profit organization as us, or for those that want to set up that kind of thing, how do we access grants? I know you're in that space, and so that you give some ideas. The fourth one is policy advocacy. Let me put it that way. I know, like Engineer Chinwe mentioned something earlier. She said Nigeria is trying to do a lot. The government is trying to do a lot of AI, programs. One just came out, AI Trust, hoping that probably that one they'll use it to raise capital money for a lot of AI projects in Nigeria. I believe this is an area we can collaborate. What is necessary, to have a standard AI industry or ecosystem in the country. I think you can partner with us. We are close to the government. We are the mouthpiece or a think tank, in quotes, for the government when it comes to ICT issues. So we can collaborate, maybe do 1 or 2 position papers and share and start promoting. So we are just one of your channels. We know you have a lot of channels of getting your word out there. But I'm just saying we can be one of the channels where you can pass this message to the government. And it's our duty to ensure that we promote what's going to help the ICT or the ecosystem, the tech ecosystem. So that's the fourth one. Then the fifth one is talent development. Of course, this is one way by having this master class, but of course, we can't achieve all the, bringing all the knowledge to, bring all the knowledge to bear now. So looking forward to see if we can have other more extensive training courses on AI so that we can raise more talents. And also another one also to have is like kind of survey. I don't know if there's how will I put it now? There's a report on AI in Nigeria, the state of AI in Nigeria. I don't know if there's any report like that now. So probably we can work on something of sort, create questionnaires, share with members, share with the engineers, and also get needs assessment from people to see how we can improve the talent development and all that. So I think I'll rest my case here. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Alex,
good to hear from you again. Yes,
Alex,
I was
let
going
me
to
take the
respond to
Raspberry
this.
Pi question if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, like Ibrahim said, I actually was behind the Raspberry Pi events that you guys attended. So like I said, I'm not famous, but again, I'm not insignificant. So I happen to be one of those guys who works on AI, both on the biggest systems that's cloud-based, as well as on the smallest systems, microcontrollers and the Raspberry Pis and things like that. So the Raspberry Pi, yeah, you're right. It is a CPU. However, Raspberry Pi is famous because it allows for attachments. So there's what is called a hat, which is a hardware attached on top. The Raspberry Pi 5 allows for a hat that's specifically called an AI hat. There was a Gen 1 and there's a Gen 2 now. The Gen 2 has two specs. There's one that is 13 tops, that's trillion operations per second, and there's another one that is 26 tops. Now, when we talk about AI, there are certain things that are inferred. So it depends on how deep you are in AI. But essentially, there's AI training on the one hand, and then there's AI model inference on the other hand. So when you consume AI, and that's a majority of users, right? When you consume AI, what you're really interested in is inference. You're not interested in trading. And so when you look at like the Raspberry Pi, the essence of the Raspberry Pi is it's something that can be deeply embedded, right? So you can have Raspberry Pis in like signages. So think of anywhere that you would have a computer, you can have a Raspberry Pi there, right? Not a server room, now there are even Raspberry Pi clusters. I was going to say not a cluster, but there are Raspberry Pi clusters. So where you would have a computer, you can have a Raspberry Pi. Now, the benefit of the Raspberry Pi is that it doesn't require cooling specifically. And that's because of the architecture, but I don't want to get down to architecture. I don't think that this is the session, but it's fine if we need to get down to that. So Raspberry Pis can run typically without a fan. Again, you can attach a fan on top if they're going to be in certain constrained situations where airflow isn't great or where they have to do some serious processing. But in the absence of that, you can put a Raspberry Pi anywhere that you'd want to put a computer. So you can, think of point of sale operations, think of signages in, hotels, galleries, other places. Think of signages even outside where you have billboards. So why would you then want to have AI there? Probably because you want to have like a camera that detects when, people are, looking. So, on the web, you can collect metrics like on a site. How much time are people spending on your site? what are the hot points, where are they going, where are they visiting, how much time are they spending there. So when you have signages, you can't really tell unless you have cameras. These cameras can work to detect when people stop to take a look at what is being displayed, how much time they spend. So, that's just one example. But the long and short of it is, yeah, you can use Raspberry Pis, you can run models on them. There are various generative models, there are inferential models, there are computer vision models that you can run on Raspberry Pis with these AI hats on top of them. So I'll stop here and pass back to Alex to respond to the other questions.
Okay, yeah, yes. I think before Mr. Alex continues, I'm just thinking about the combination of both of you. I mean, Mr. Alex and Mr. Roberts. I think the AI industry will explode. So that let's move ahead. Let's move ahead.
Yes, and it's already happening. It's already happening. Robert, we'll talk more again later this week and dive deeper into this because the combination of all of these together would be phenomenal. And I think as we found from that Raspberry Pi event, Garki Hospital has already adopted the Raspberry Pis. So we're now going to have a further conversation to understand which AI models in healthcare can fit on the Raspberry Pis that they bought.
Okay.
So they will get trained on a GPU and then deployed on a Raspberry Pi. That's how they'll be connected. So those who have the $5,000 laptops with GPUs can be the ones training, or even if they don't have $5,000, they can rent from the cloud, depending on how much they're trying to train, how big the thing is. And then when it's now trained, they can now deploy it on the Raspberry Pi. So in the next 3 to 6 months, we should deploy some AI models in Garki Hospital and then go from there. So looking forward to that project.
Okay, Mr. Alex, I don't want this to, sorry for cutting you short. Just to add to what you just said now, I think I should look at not just Garki Hospital. I think telemedicine has become something that is very needed now. Having like telemedicine, is it the screens and all that, those stands that one can just go to take readings, and it can diagnose and all that. So I think start thinking about, because I know the Association of Local Government Chairmen now are looking at solutions in that area where they can deploy to rural areas where the primary health cares are not available. So I'm just saying. So I think you should look at that too. And I think I also have a channel to them. Yeah, so.
Yeah, 100%. We're looking at that. Well, I'm just speaking about specific, you have to go to now a specific organization to work with and stuff. So that's where that comes in. Let me see if I can dive into some of your questions because there were many of them.
All right, let's go. Yes, time is going fast.
Yeah. So, well, I guess why I came to this page is we created this page, Alliance for Africa's Intelligence. You can find a lot of things here, many of the things you asked for. If you come for education, for example, Africa context. So there's what is AI, which is a beginning of what is AI, and an Africa context, which tries to answer things in an African way, right? So from defining a problem to finding the data, acquiring knowledge, compute infrastructure, deploy solution. It'll be good to just read through the page and see what one can learn from it and maybe how we can add. This page is like 4 or 5 years old. So things might have changed. But it's still useful for people who are just getting started. The other one, industry scenarios in Africa, healthcare, finance, agri, image, sound, language, some tough questions. So it's good people can just go through the education tab if they're interested. And then inspiration tab is also phenomenal. You can find out some African AI startups. I think Robert John's startup is even listed here. I think so, one of your old startups. User stories, AI leaders, that's a great one where you can see men and women in Africa who've built AI companies over the many years. They are listed here for inspiration. You can invite them to come to talk or in your panels and things like that. So it's a whole continent, right? This is not just Africa. Sorry, this is not just Nigeria, it's a whole continent. So all of that information is here. And then programs, there's advocacy. You can see advocacy. So basically working on different AI policies across the world and being part of keynotes and events and things like that. So all of that is happening. And Ian from Ghana, how are you? Say hi. It looks like you're in the audience. So yes, all of that's been going on, and there's just so much more to do, right? There's always more to do. I would really love to learn about the World Bank Fab Lab that you were part of. If you can ping me afterwards, it'd be awesome to talk about that.
Sure,
And
sure.
then let me see if there's any other question. Okay, maybe we'll
No,
get
there are like
2
4
more people or
questions.
so before we
Yeah.
go into yes. Usi Wama.
Oh, yes. Thank
Okay.
you. Yeah, I believe you can hear me. So,
Yes.
I'm a doctor, and I'm glad one of the speakers talked about the use of AI in medicine. So we need AI in everything. So, and I also want to point that it's good when you talked about we not getting support from outside. How I think someone or you explained how it's like a system where they get the best from us, and then they submerge we as Africans, bringing out the best to keep that circle of taking the best at a cheaper rate and not giving kudos to Africa for us to be strengthened. So I think we should see it as a blessing, and it should be on our mind that it's Africans for Africans, and something which I believe maybe we've started. It's also looking at kids and high schools and also the university to start giving it to everyone, because it's kind of like a competition within countries now. But I will not say we look at it like a competition. It's we bringing out the best for Africa, for Nigeria, so that on its own, I think AI is enough to clear off job unemployment, and we'll be able to bring out our real potential. Like I said, it touches every area. So it's something that everybody should have a hold on. So I will say thank you for what you're doing and continue the great work. And we're here to support from every department. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you very much. Yes. Yes. Let's all keep working on these. Fantastic. And then the other name, let's see, who else had their hand up? Are we?
We have about four hands up. I think after those 4, we can take a break.
Oh, was it Chukuma? Is it the first one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That should be good evening all.
Yes.
Yeah, my hand has been up for some time. Well, thank you for looking at it. I want to contribute. It's going to be like a food for thought, so that everyone will be thinking about my experience and see how we can improve. My answer, what I'm addressing is, why would you not hire a developer in Africa? Why would you not hire someone in Africa? Mine is going to be like, sometimes even us Africans sometimes want to hire people abroad, but we don't know that the talents are in Africa. We don't know. So we got an African developer to work with us. Initially, he came, gathered requirements, developed the system. We didn't trust. There was no trust using the system. You understand? We kept the system on. This guy built a beautiful system, but we didn't know there was a beautiful system with us. At some point, we got somebody to look at it, and the person told us that, man, this system is good. And there was something the guy did. the guy also trained us. He gave us training. And the way he trained us, he gave us a system that we can configure ourselves, that we can change it the way we wanted. So somehow that training gave us an insight, and we started using the system. You know, when you're using a new system, there's a lot of front and back. The guy was on ground, and he captured the new requirements and built a second one, even at no cost to us. We were surprised when we went on to the second product, and it was a lot better. So gradually, we started building confidence with this guy. But initially, we didn't trust. But when the guy worked with us and was ready to offer systems without asking for money, and when we now used it, we now said, wow, so unknown to us, as we were enjoying the system, other units of the same organization were looking at us. What's happening? What's happening? They also got the same guy to build the same system, to build their own system. So what I'm responding to is, on our own part, we didn't trust. On the developer's part, you need to, first of all, develop something so that people can trust it, people can work with it. So I will encourage people developing. First of all, just like free apps, you have to first use an app, a free app, before you be able to see how good it is. If there's nothing to use, you won't be able to trust. So what my encouraging words to developers is that they should be able to put out something, because there are businesses in Nigeria, small businesses that need your support. Get something out in the market for them to start trying out, and trust to come from there, and they'll start hiring local Nigerians. That's my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, good lived experience. And yeah, I like it. I like it. All right. I see a couple of minutes left here. Joshua, if you wanted to jump in. And then after you, Bankole. Joshua.
Good evening. Good evening. Sorry. Good evening.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. My name is Joshua. I use AI a lot for my architectural visualizations and fashion. And my question to you as an expert is, how easy or how difficult is it to indigenize AI? Because I'm talking about making it more culturally relevant, inclusive of our indigenous knowledge. Whenever I use AI to try to generate most things about African content, African motif, African art, it doesn't give me what I want. So my question is how easy it is or how difficult it is for us to have our own. I know of a Pakistani based in United Arab Emirates who was able to do that, to get Musavir AI that is all about has indigenized it to have this Arabian content all over it, when you don't struggle when you want to get Arabian content from your AI. But all the platforms that I have used, most of the times when you are trying to get African elements, African arts, African fashion out of it, it struggles. At times it mixes African with Indian and African with other cultures. So is it that difficult to be able to indigenize AI?
Alex, can I take this?
Let me see. So, what is that? No, who's that?
Robert.
Oh yeah. No, before you go,
Okay.
let me see. What's your name? Joshua. Joshua, definitely reach out to me and let's talk about this more, because it's a challenge I'm very, very interested in. And in the gaming space, there's something called mesh, right? Mesh is when you draw, and so we're actually trying to build a text to mesh model. So an African text to mesh model, because for the same reasons, when you tell it to produce things, to give you some American looking thing, but you want an African one. So it's us. We just have to create the data. Like create the data, someone will build the model. So now we should start capturing that data so we can build them. That's just what needs to happen. So please reach out to me. Let's talk about it. And then in architecture, all the AI and architecture people, please reach out to me as well. I want to learn about AI and architecture. It'd be good. Robert, please, you want to add to that?
Yeah, I wanted to answer the question, and it's part of what you said towards the end. So the problem is us. And how is the problem us? So we have this adage that says you cover your yam until it is grown type thing. We're extremely secretive human beings, and AI isn't magic. AI is built on data, but Africans are notorious for not making data available. In other continents, it's very easy to get access to data. If you want to start building something, there's usually some sort of public data. In the UK, for instance, there's a police crimes database. In the US, there's something similar. It's easy in Europe, in Americas, you can go around with a camera and take photographs. In Africa, if you go around taking cameras, you are likely to get, taking photographs, you're likely to get lynched by someone. We're always trying to hide something, and that's the problem. If something isn't in the public domain, it doesn't contribute to building models, right? So that's why you don't really get solutions that are Africa-centric. It's simply because we do not, we don't make data available. I came back from Europe sometime in 2014. I had just visited a bio plant. It's a farm. It's a farm with 2,000 heads of cattle. It's a dairy farm, but they generate electricity from animal waste and food waste. So whatever the animals don't eat gets swept into a biodigester. And when I came back and I was speaking to a Fulani person about that idea, because hey, it would make sense to have ranches close to residential settlements, because then you could have power plants, give and take, right? And so, when I asked him, for example, how many heads of cattle do you have? He said, oh, we never disclose that. So how do you make projections? How do you plan if something as simple as how many heads of cattle do you have never gets disclosed? So without dragging this on, that's really the problem why you don't see Africa-centric models. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bankole, the last one.
Good evening, Alex. Fantastic class. Really, really awesome discussion. Thank you, my president, Oluwadara, and thanks, Ibrahim, for setting this up. I think these are conversations that we really need to have, and it's been a very interesting one to follow. My name is Bankole Ojomedubi. I'm the managing partner for Parasol BPO, and what we basically do is just connect Nigerian talent to American companies, but we also ensure a reliable delivery of that talent. Because it's one thing for the staff to be skilled, it's another thing for the skill to reliably be delivered to the employers that need them. But the question I wanted to ask you specifically, Alex, was there's been any time, and I'm sure, I don't know whether you spend a lot of time on Twitter or X, like I do, a bit too much. But anytime maybe a funding is announced about AI in Nigeria, this mini argument breaks out, which, oh, we should probably spend that money developing the operational layer of Nigeria more or less. So we need to build up our manufacturing base, and that should take priority over what we do with AI. I want to know where you fall. Oh, I kind of have an idea where you fall on it, but I would like you to make like I think very strongly that yes, we do need to build a manufacturing base, but is it either or? And how can, if AI is going to play a part, I think one of the fail points that I see is there's just so much of Nigeria that, and I think Robert touched on this, there's so much of Nigeria that there's a joke I crack with people that I tell them that you can't find Nigeria on Google. So, and AI is largely trained, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe AI is largely trained on information that is based on the internet. And so for me, that's a particular fail point I see in terms of being able to use AI to optimize, to build, accelerate our ability to build a manufacturing base. So I just want to know where you stand on this, on that debate, and what do you think about that particular fail point? And do you have any ideas of how to overcome that? So just to round up with this, before you answer, like I was writing a report on the furniture sector in Nigeria, and the reason why we had to really go into the space. The internet doesn't play a huge role in the spaces where most of the productivity comes from these sectors. So, and that's a big issue. So I just wanted to know what your thoughts are.
Yes. I'm just writing down some notes here. If you can please, while I'm answering, paste your reports on the chat so everybody can see your reports on the furniture industry. I would love to read that. That would be great. And also your contact information. It's really, really good stuff you were sharing. My position in the debate is what the slide says, right? People should stop having that debate, please. I wish someone, they should stop having that debate. You need AI. AI is how you... this slide explains it. I don't know how else to explain it. Do you want to spend $10 million building the infrastructure for your village? Do you have it? No. But is there $100,000 that your local government has for AI? Yes. Spend it. It's the same results. You're going to get the same healthcare, improve healthcare. It's cheaper. It's cheaper. So spend AI on the cheaper thing. Stop waiting for the whole thing. That's one. Number two, if the infrastructure, the $10 million was there, somebody would have spent it already. They're not spending it, right? It means it's not there. So that's just the case. And when you expand $10 million to the actual big number, the big number is $600 billion every year. It does not exist anywhere. So people should stop making that argument. If they have it, they should spend it. If they don't have $600 billion, then they should stop complaining. We don't have the money for traditional approaches. Plus, we don't need to. AI is a cheaper way to solve problems. AI does not solve every problem, but that's not the point. People come and make that argument. It's not about what it cannot do. It's about what can it do. Ask the question, what can it do? And let me work on that thing. Don't point at all the many things it doesn't do. Like, it doesn't matter. What can it do? Let's use that to get ahead, right? The amounts that are related to AI solutions are a lot cheaper, so we can afford that. But we cannot afford the traditional approaches. Same thing with education. You have to build schools, you have to train teachers, you have to do so much. There's no money. If there was money, we would have done it already, right? But you can spend 10% of that money building an AI model that can be taught to answer. Like there's still work to be done on how to deploy it. I'm not saying that we've figured everything out, but if you get some smart people in the room, they can figure it out. We can figure out how to deploy AI models for education to people. And the Africa data is not on Google, correct? For the most part. That's why, but it's not rocket science to create data. Yes, culturally, our people refuse you from creating data, but we figure out ways now. That's the way. Data Science Nigeria has figured out very, very creative ways of gathering data across Nigeria, all the way to the north, where they say the north is the hardest place. It's just, when we want to solve the problem, we'll solve it. We can gather the data we need and use it to fine-tune models. Maybe we'll not build models from scratch. We'll fine-tune models with the small data we're able to gather ourselves. And that's the way forward. So there is a way forward, and hopefully all of us on the call will be the ones driving it along. So yes, thank you very much. Over to Ibrahim and team.
Thank you, Alex.
We round out today.
Okay, sorry, I think Engineer Udu's hand is up too. Let's give him the floor.
Hopefully it's a quick one. I'm supposed to run to that's something here.
Yes, thank you so very much, the national chairman, for creating this opportunity, and our guest speaker, I want to sincerely thank you for making the session a very interesting one. Very, very interesting. And then my own is just an information because we've talked a lot, we've learned a lot. Nigerian government is actually investing heavily in training Nigerians to become experts in AI through the 3MTT program facilitated by the Federal Ministry of Communication. I think as a professional body, especially I'm directed this to our guest speaker, we have a lot to do in that direction because in the next 2 years, about 30,000 Nigerians will be trained and to become experts in AI, cybersecurity, data analytics, and the rest. How do we accommodate, how do we make use of this knowledge to solve Nigerian problem? So it's something that we have to think as a professional body. And I believe there is a need for us to record of this, create a database of the resources that we have in this country. And then we look at how we can make use of it to solve Nigerian problem. Nigerian government is investing. His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu is putting in billions of naira to train Nigerians in artificial intelligence. How do we use these Nigerians to solve Nigerian problem? Sort of allowing them to maybe abandon it and then some maybe fly out of the country and then we continue to remain in abject poverty. So let's look at it as a professional body, and especially our guest speaker, he has been a great beneficiary of AI, and I believe he has gone far as far as AI is concerned. Let's look inward. We have a lot of Nigerians that are undergoing training in artificial intelligence. When they are done, how do we engage their brains in solving Nigerian problem? So that is just the information I wanted to pass on. That Nigerian government is actually investing, because the speaker talked about, oh, Africans are not investing in artificial intelligence. But I said, at least I am a witness that Nigerian government is investing billions of naira to train Nigerians in artificial intelligence. But a very big question lies, which is how do we use these Nigerians to solve Nigerian problem?
Yes. So thank you very, very much, Engineer Udu. Really, really great input. And then I can correct what I said earlier on, so people don't say that. I didn't say, I was referring to the African governments, including Nigerian governments, not investing in this picture, in compute. They are not investing in the compute. They are all thinking about training and saying training is all you need. I don't understand why. Because when you train the people, as this slide says, they leave the country because they cannot get the job. They simply cannot get a good job in the country if their computers are slow. Nobody's going to hire them and they will be slow. They are slow computers. You need to have the GPUs in addition to the people that have been trained. So the 3MTT program, I'm connected quite closely with the program. And it was good that Google was able to contribute about how much they contribute, about $1.5 million to the program. And that's going to train a lot of people. But if we don't do this part, it kind of not be a useful exercise. You need to bring the computers. The way I describe it is, how are you training people to drive a car, but there's no car to drive? Right? You have drivers everywhere, but there's no car to drive. So that's the issue. And hopefully very soon, we will have people investing in GPUs in Nigeria. So that's a good place to stop. And thank you very much, everybody, for an engaging session.